Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Hello friends, you're watching Welcome Keene on Fact TV. My name is Aggie Cersosimo. Today is September 21st and I hope you guys enjoying beautiful weather. It's absolutely gorgeous out there. So please after work go for a nice hike or walk and you're going to really enjoy beautiful New England fall weather. Speaking of weather, if you're guys outdoor enthusiast or a hiker or biker and you just want to spend some time with your friends and family outside, this episode will give you a lot of information about parks and trails in Keene. Andy Bohannon is my guest today. He's the director for the Keene Parks and Rec department. And such a pleasure to have you in our show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I know that your schedule is very busy, so I really appreciate having you here.
Absolutely.
It's so nice. Are you enjoying this beautiful weather today?
It's amazing. I could live in this weather year round.
Right? It's perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
How are you doing today?
It's a busy day with a lot of things coming up this weekend, but we're doing well.
Yeah, we're crossing our fingers for good weather this weekend, right?
Yeah. We're going to get it Friday for the ribbon cutting ceremony at Russell Park and the afternoon activities there. And then not so good for Saturday for the International Festival.
The Russell Park came out so beautiful. I went there yesterday, and
thank you.
The playgrounds and is it a soccer field?
It could be a soccer field. It's multi-use. We designed it for rugby as well as lacrosse. The Monadnock Rugby Club is a very active group here in Keene. They started off playing elsewhere, and then they've moved to Keene and Carpenter Street. Now Russell Park kind of became their home, and so they're really excited.
It came out really beautiful.
Have a home field.
It looks fresh and new.
Yeah.
It's good energy. So today we're going to talk about parks and trails, and specifically I would like to talk about Goose Pond and Robin Hood Park. Andy has a lot of knowledge and information about what's going on in Keene in that area, so I would like to talk to you. But before we start the conversation about the parks, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you start your career at the rec center and working for the city of Keene, and how long have you been working for them?
I'll start at the beginning. So I started working for the recreation department in 7th grade, officiating basketball games for our 4th and 5th grade league at the time. And that's before the recreation center was actually built up on Washington Street. It was the old one that was being reconstructed. So we actually went out to all the different elementary schools and did games at that. And then the next season we were able to be in our new facility that's going to get renovated this year. But so I've been around for a little while. I'm a native of Keene and just love it here and love what we have to offer. It's kind of, to me, it's the perfect place to live. You're 2 hours from everything.
Yes.
And it's a short drive.
And I also feel like Keene is getting more beautiful and renovated and more fun, and there's more things. I mean, it's been growing so much. I moved here 11 years ago, and I can tell a huge difference between then and now, and it's been only a decade.
Yeah, I started professionally working for the city in 2004 as a recreation programmer. I took over for Bob Wilbur, who did an amazing job with all the programs. I learned a lot from him when I worked for him. And then our director retired in 2010, Brian Matson. He had been here with the city for 37 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I got a chance to work for both of them, and it was just a great experience, and they taught me a lot about little things about this community that I may not have known, and just the special gems that we have that we're going to talk about today.
Right.
Because I didn't use those as a kid. I used Wheelock Park and a lot of the tennis courts. So I wasn't out on the trails in these two parks, and they're simply amazing, and we are blessed to have them in our community.
Yes, we are so lucky that we live in the nature, and it's so beautiful. So could you please tell us roughly how many biking or hiking trails do we have in Keene?
So mileage-wise, we have about 8 miles of rail trail that goes pretty much from tip to border to border related to the Cheshire Rail Trail, and then the Ashwillet Rail
Right.
Trail starts downtown on Emerald Street and goes south to Swansea.
Wow.
But you can connect on either one of those down into several miles of rail trail. And then single track trail, which we call for a lot of our mountain biking, is over 40 miles on city property.
Wow.
And we have Stonewall Farm, which has some more. They have several miles on their plot of land, and
Right.
probably another 10, 15 miles on what we call the Food Network, which is private land, but it's open to bike riders.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how about parks? How many parks do you have under your supervision?
We have 16 parks,
16 parks in Keene.
and those range from Goose Pond, which is 1,200 acres, down to quarter acre at like the corner of Sesame Street and Kennedy.
So let's focus on the Goose Pond Trail. What made you think to start a renovation, improvements in that forest?
Yeah, Goose Pond we know is one of our most heavily active parks, utilized for the walking trail around. If anybody's unfamiliar with Goose Pond, you can go to the parking lots. There's a south parking lot and a north parking lot. The south parking lot was just built a few years ago when we redid the dam, and we created space for about 12 cars. That kind of takes you below the dam, and you can walk up around, and then you have to cross a spillway at some point,
Right.
either direction. And the north, you kind of go counterclockwise. The south you'll go counterclockwise. North, you'll go clockwise around the loop. And so, knowing that it's one of our heavily used, we did the Conservation Commission was concerned about some of the water quality and how close the trails were to the water. So we wanted to kind of put it out and see what we could do for a long-term stewardship plan and really create a healthier forest. And in doing so, we hired a consultant back in 2019. We got the document completed, and then COVID hit, and so
Right.
we weren't able to kind of initiate some of those action steps. And then we brought a small committee together that was focused on the trails. We applied for a grant. We didn't receive the grant, but that was probably our blessing because we then hired a consultant with the same funds that we would have received from the grant. And we did improvements around the loop, and we did about 9 footbridges all the way around,
Oh, wow.
improved and really raised. So if you're familiar with that particular
Yes,
trail,
I did go hiking there.
there was a lot of wet areas. So
Right.
these bridges kind of get you up out of the wet and it's a one step up and across, and it spans anywhere from 8 feet to 40 feet. And but they're all around the trail now and improved, and we have signage.
Right,
so,
that was my next question. What
Yeah.
else have you done so far in that beautiful
the
forest?
signage was one of the things that we hear oftentimes is get lost pretty
I got
easily.
lost.
I'm going to admit I've gotten lost.
You got-
Yeah. So it's easy to do because you look and you're like, oh, where does this trail go, or is this the trail? And so we wanted to make sure that we were identifying that particular loop really well, knowing how much traffic it receives.
Right.
And that was the common feedback, is like I wasn't sure where I was.
Correct.
So we've just printed off some large maps that we're going to be putting around the trail as well.
Oh, that's great.
Along with the trail signage and a QR code, so you can pull it up on your phone
Oh, wow.
and be like, oh, okay, here I am. If I take this trail, I'll get over here, or that sort of place. But one of the things we have to be a lot of hikers should be a little cautious of, as it's an extremely popular mountain biking area, but the mountain bikers tend not to go around the loop. And as soon as you branch off onto that loop is a lot of active mountain bike trails. And if you're starting to go
and it's
up,
confusing.
yeah, and if you start to go up, so a lot of the bikers are coming down at a high speed. So so that's some of the signage that we're going to create, is to make sure that people are aware that there's two activities going on at the same time. And so if somebody's out there with their earbuds and maybe not hearing,
right, that's important.
Yeah,
that's
so
important. Can you go, I don't know, for horse rides over there or anything like that? Or is it just bikers and hikers?
Well, mostly bikers and hikers.
How about snowshoeing?
Snowshoeing, absolutely.
Yes.
It's a beautiful place in the wintertime to go across the pond. And it's just it's a beautiful area.
Are there any tables? Can you have a picnic or a snack over there?
You could bring a blanket and put that, sit on a rock or a log and
Right.
kind of have your picnic there, but yeah, no tables out.
So please tell us specifically, what is that Greater Goose Pond Forest Land Stewardship, and how long is it going to last? Like, what's the timeline for that? Did you start it already? You did, you mentioned that.
Yep.
But like, how long is it going to last?
So it's within a conservation area, so the city will always be good stewards of the land.
Right.
That particular plan is put an action related to all the trails, and it really could give us a 5 to 10 year time frame. There's some other things within that plan that we have to look at and see if this is the right time to do. Right. But it's something that if we don't get everything accomplished, it will always be there. So and we'll refresh it like every 10 years to say, okay, we've accomplished these 5 things. What are the 5 things that we have to do next?
So it's like an ongoing project.
Yes.
It's not finished, but it's ongoing project.
Correct.
When we go there, what can we expect that was different except for the bridges? Is it just bridges, or is it more parking spaces or anything like that?
Signage.
Signage.
Is really probably the biggest thing, along with just the improvements that we've made along the trail.
I saw a lot of beautiful bridges. They look really pretty. Now with the foliage coming up, like I really need to go and hike.
Yeah.
It's so.
It's going to be a popular spot.
Yes. Have you received any feedback from the community?
We have almost 100% positive. That it's great improvements. We've had the comments that we're no longer getting lost. Thank you for the signage. Just it's easier walking, and so you don't have to navigate through some wet areas. This summer has been very wet. So there's been a lot of those, but we've improved a lot of the drainage around the loop, so it should stay dry a lot more when we have some of the rain events like we've had this year.
What is the cost of all those renovations?
So that particular program was $46,000 to hire the consultant, to bring in the equipment, to do all and we did have some volunteers that helped out, so that helped in that cost as well.
Great.
And we'll be putting in a new kiosk on the north parking lot, because we rerouted. If you're familiar, or if you've walked Goose Pond in the past, you would come into the parking lot and there was a trail on the left.
Yes.
We've abandoned that trail and we go up now on the right, and we put a new set of stairs in, and we want people to walk that way to help improve some of the tree roots and erosion problems that we had.
What is the level of that trail?
They're all pretty easy. If you go from the north parking lot, it's a little steep in, and then, but it's moderate. You can definitely walk the pond in about 45 to 60 minutes, depending on your stride or your pace.
Right.
But you should plan on a good 45 to 60 minutes.
Is it dogs friendly?
It is dog friendly. You do have to be in voice command.
Right.
Some people, if there's nobody around, you can have your dog off leash. But if there are other dogs around, you'd probably want them on leash.
Right.
But they do need to be in voice command.
Awesome. I feel like it's a really beautiful trail, and it's really worth trying to go there and hike and bring some food or bring a dog and just go for a nice fall, not even fall, spring, whatever, summer hike. Are there any exciting trail projects in the future of the city, or is it like the only one?
No, we have, so we're constantly working to improve our trails.
Right.
We are currently working with the University of New Hampshire Cooperative Extension to look at the economic impact of our mountain bike trails,
Right.
Which is part of the Goose Pond. So there'll be a survey coming out in the near future that will help us collect some of that information. We will go back to the table this winter and find a new trail to improve, and we'll also be looking to improve the Robin Hood trails.
What is that transportation heritage project? Is it? That's really exciting, and it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. So the transportation heritage project is we're basically connecting 3 bridges. So the Stone Arch Bridge that's out on 101, it kind of sits in the middle.
On the right side, right? When
As you're
Keene.
leaving
Yes,
Keene, it's on the
yes.
right. And that was really a catalyst for bringing trains in. When they built the Boston and Maine Railroad, they built all of these stone arches throughout Keene. And they're just absolutely beautiful. That one's stunning.
Yes.
And it's on the historic registry. So the city bought the Prowse Bridge, which spanned in Londonderry around Exit 4.
Right.
It was built in 1964 as the first one-piece iron bridge. It was welded in certain places, and so it had some engineering feat to that, but it didn't serve its purpose anymore. They removed it. We bought it for $1. We have to transport it to Keene, and that will cross 101 from the Eastern Ave.
Yes.
You have a rail bed that goes out that's unimproved. That's going to get done next year, and that will take you to 101, and then the Prowse Bridge is going to connect you to the Stone Arch Bridge. And then the bridge that was currently on Island Street that's being removed now, that's going to cross Swansea Factory Road. And so there'll be, and that is a Bailey Bridge. And those bridges were used heavily in World War II in the European front to get soldiers over and tanks over gullies and rivers and really quickly, because they could assemble them and disassemble them. And that was on Island Street, supposed to be a temporary bridge 40 years ago, and it's
now you're using it for beautiful trails.
Yeah.
That is very exciting. So, would you be able to go, let's say, for a hike from downtown to all the way to 101 and to Arch Bridge and to Swansea? Is it going to be possible?
You will be, when the project is done, and if everybody keeps their rail trails clear, they'll be connected down into Massachusetts. So you'll be able to come to Keene and get all the way to Boston within 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Do you think because we have so many beautiful trails and so many beautiful events, like big events like Pumpkin Festival or International Festival, Keene Parade, visitors come to Keene and they think like, wow, that's such a beautiful small New England town. I would like to come back and use those trails. Do you think that events like that bring more visitors that can actually enjoy the trails?
Absolutely.
And support local business and
yes. Yeah. So we did a economic impact study of just the downtown and the trails, and it was shown that visitors are spending more money in Keene than the state average when they visit. When they come into events like the Pumpkin Festival or the Food Festival or the Pride Festival, whatever it may be, the International Festival, they're coming to Keene and they're spending money, and they see Keene, and I've heard firsthand from many people, those events transform them to move here.
Really?
And so no longer are they a visitor, but they become residents because of the quality of life. And that's kind of my job, is to make sure that the quality of life when they do move here or when they do visit, these experiences within their parks and their trails are quality experiences that they want to come back over and over again.
And they come back and they stay.
And they bring their friends.
And they bring more.
And they bring more people and they spend more money. And that's the whole That's my whole goal.
That's what I have noticed about Keene, and as I said, I've been here 11 years, and I have noticed just extreme growth of Keene in so many different aspects, and it's just so wonderful to like bring up kids and have family here. It's absolutely wonderful.
When you have a good school district,
yes,
and you have a library like we do, we have good parks.
Good parks, right?
Good
sport programs,
yeah,
right? Like hockey or whatever, like the sport, like this event.
Keene Ice has done exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to increase, hockey players, but people coming to visit Keene. It really helped and became an economic driver in that world of hockey.
Yes.
And as a result, we've seen championships from the youth level to the high school level to the college level. Mm-hmm. And that's exciting.
And I have friends, because my son is a hockey player, I have friends coming from Massachusetts because they like the ice rink in Keene, and they stay here, they have dinner after and stuff like that, so they spend more money because of that. So that's really good.
One of the things that's important too is that these facilities, when you maintain them at a high level and you make them attractive, employers, it helps in their recruitment process.
Right. That
this is a quality place to live.
Yes.
And that's a key component to how we think.
Yes.
In making sure that we're providing a high quality of life. Right. And when somebody comes in to apply for whether it be the city or CNS or Markham or Timken or any of those other businesses, and they see what we have, they're like, I can live here.
Yes.
This is a good place, and I like this job, and I want to move here, and I want to raise a family here. And that's what we're trying to create.
Yes, and that's happening. I mean, that really is happening.
Yeah.
So let's talk about another wonderful project, which is Robin Hood Park. I know there's a lot of changes going ahead, and there's a lot going on. And I know you have had a lot of public meetings and talking about it, but I really would like to bring more awareness about it. And if people still don't know, I would like them to know, because you do have a lot of knowledge. So first question that I have, what is the reason for the renovation of Robin Hood Park?
So the renovation is it's tired.
It's tired. It's a little bit dated.
Yeah.
I went there yesterday when I was preparing for the interview, and it is dated. It looks it looks like it needs a little bit more love and attention.
It definitely needs love and attention.
Yes.
So we, for those who may not be familiar, the pools, both pools, Wheelock and Robin Hood, were donated by the Lions Club back in 1963 and constructed and opened in 1964. So both original buildings, the playground building that is down below where the kids' summer activities are, that was originally in a maintenance building built in 1950.
Oh, wow.
And so
it's more than 70 years old.
Yeah, and the pavilion was added after. If you've been to the restrooms at the playground building,
yes.
We probably replace those toilets at least once a year because of vandalism and
really?
And it's really disconcerting, but it's the age, the looks, the aesthetics. They're not light, they're not bright, and so we need to be able to fix that. And it's hard sometimes to spend a lot of money to improve, but it's a necessary improvement.
Right.
You're not going to leave the roof on your house on forever, just because you spent so much at one point.
Or toilets
and when the useful life is ended, you got to replace it.
Correct.
That's what's happening at Robin Hood Park. And when we're doing this, we want to make sure the improvements that we're making are for the future, and we provide the changes that things that may not work right now, but we can make those improvements and they'll serve a better park.
Exactly, for a long time.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I have a question, because I know that you have had some public meetings and people can see the pictures of the renovations or the proposed renovations on the website. But are you going to have more meetings, more talks about it, or this phase of the project is already completed?
So this phase of the project is completed. So this was what we call a conceptual plan. So it was really trying to get feedback from the public to give us an idea of how to move forward. And from this phase, we'll go to a Municipal Service Facilities Infrastructure Committee. It's a mouthful, but it's for short, it's MSFI. And that'll be at the beginning of November. And so we'll make our presentation at that time of like, this is what the public shared, this is what the cost is going to be. By then, we'll already have had it in our CIP document, which gets introduced to the council in the springtime with a vote at that during that phase. So and this project is not scheduled until fiscal year 28, 27, 28. So it's a few years out.
Yes.
But as I was talking with somebody today, we have to plan now so we can budget accordingly in the future.
It's a process.
It
doesn't happen overnight. It's a process.
Russell Park, which we're cutting the ribbon tomorrow, we started planning in 2015. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it takes a long time. It does
take a long time.
And you have to be patient, and you have to be able to make sure everything is going according, and you check the boxes as you go in the process. And this is that first step of like, let's get the public's input and the interest. Along with the 2 public meetings that we had 60 people at the first meeting, we had 40 people at the second meeting. We did a community survey with a survey tool called Flashvote, and we had 274 responses.
That's pretty good.
It's really good.
Yes.
Of those 274, 254 were Keene residents. So we can use that data and narrow that down into various demographics and say, okay, the general population said keep the pool, improve the playground, and improve the bathrooms. Those are our 3 main goals going into this project. They reinforced it. Now what is that going to look like? And that's what the consultant is here to kind of give us the idea from. So
the program that you mentioned, Flashvote, is it something that we can still go and fill out, or is it also finished?
So residents can sign up and for future surveys.
Is it online?
It's online. You can find it on the city website.
Okay.
And what you do is you register. You don't have any idea what the next survey when it will come and what it is about. And it's intended to be that way. So we, as city staff, we know what that particular will be, but it's helpful for the citizens to like give us immediate feedback on this particular subject that we're asking about. And it will be open for 48 hours. So you sign up, you get the notification, you do the survey, you have 48 hours to do it. At the end of that 48 hours, so if it starts on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, it closes Friday at 1 o'clock, you will know in your inbox at 1 o'clock on Friday the results of the survey. And you're able to narrow that in to see what we see. So it's really good information.
And you can make your own analyze and think about like what may happen, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like this is very convenient. And if, for example, if you can go to the meeting or you can just go and do anything, you can go online and get the survey. You can do it at home. You don't have to go to the meeting, right?
Yeah, and the really good thing about this is like, somebody can say at a meeting, well, everybody was we wanted a new slide in that park. And you look at the survey results, and there's 250 people who responded, and of those 250 people, 245 said no slide. So you hear that, you can see that information, and it's really helpful, not only to staff, but to the city councilors who are looking for that type of information.
Absolutely, and it's faster, and it's just more fluid. So the city consultant, Du Bois and King, they presented 2 concepts of Robin Hood Park based on community feedback and requirements, right?
Yes.
So could you please tell us, there's two concepts. One concept is with it looks like there's a pool, and in the other concept there's just a giant splash pad. I would like you to explain what are the major differences, except for those two maybe.
Yeah, so in concept one, we kept the pool and shifted the pool house. Since then, we're going to keep the pool house where it is and probably keep the pool where it is. But we talked about a turnaround for parking so people could drop off a little bit easier and pick up easier.
Also, that would be more convenient for parents to drop their kids off and so they don't run into the traffic.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and part of this process too is creating a way for us to get folks via a sidewalk and a safe path from the pool all the way down into the other areas of the park.
Right.
So that'll be a connectivity piece that we're implementing. In concept one, we have a new playground, more of a natural play area. And then further south, we're not doing a lot with the current bathrooms.
So we mentioned a new playground because in concept two, there's no proposed playground, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it in the map. Maybe.
It's not in the map, but it is there.
It's there. It's going to be there.
It'll be there. We're not taking a playground away.
Right, because that feels like it's a very popular area.
Yes,
you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will, and the playground is next to the pavilion and the public restrooms.
Yes.
So that's going to stay in concept one, but in concept two, there's a different venue. It's more, there's plaza and restrooms, community building, right, and more ramps.
Yeah. So we're going to be able to get in concept two, just kind of bring the play in the clubhouse and the community building and restrooms down kind of off of where they are right now and connect them into the playground itself and really make them closer to where the tennis courts are.
Right.
We're going to be putting parking and changing the tennis courts into a multi-use course.
Yes.
And that'll go off to the side. And so that'll just kind of help with some of that connectivity. And then on the other side of that parking lot will be the playground area. So it's even these concepts are fairly new. They've changed and we've made a little bit of a hybrid since then. So
a little bit different.
Just from the public meeting and the flash vote to start to work our numbers. So there's a little bit of you take these two programs and you kind of mesh them together, and that's kind of what the results are going to be.
So the tennis court right now looks dated, and it really needs some renovations. And also I noticed that there's no parking spaces, so that is going to change. And that court is not going to be tennis court. Just tennis court. It's going to be more like a multi-purpose court with even ice rink, right?
Yeah, that's the discussion that we were having. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the problems that we have in the wintertime. If you grew up in Keene like I did,
yes.
There's skating up at Robin Hood every year, and it's one of the best places.
Sledding, right?
Sledding we couldn't do as a kid because the dam was a little bit different. So now it goes all the way down to the bottom. When we were a kid, it went down and then dropped off about 6 feet, and then went. So there was a stone wall at the base of that. And that's changed when we redid that in 2015.
Okay.
So it became an instant sledding hill, an unintended consequence.
Fun one.
Yeah, it's been great. Kids really like it. So we will be kind of making those changes, and I think that's going to be for the positive. We'd like to bring the ice rink down so we can maintain it a lot better than we can at the surface. Still have the opportunity to do some pond skating if the weather cooperates, but the weather is changing and we're not able to do it.
It's changing all the time.
Yeah.
And the last winter, I don't think we got really a lot of freezing nights and stuff like that. So the court, is it going to be pickleball? Can you go and play the pickleball, or I don't know, play soccer? Because I see in the picture this it's surrounded by the walls. That would probably change the purpose of the field.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because one of the things that I've been looking at is you'll be able to soccer and basketball and pickleball and tennis, although you need nets for the pickleball and tennis.
Right.
We may not necessarily have a tennis court, but we'll have the pickleball lines.
Right.
But it's also going to be open for soccer, so kids can play as you know, and the purpose of the International Festival is to attract a more diverse population into Keene. We are growing in that diversity, and soccer is a worldwide sport.
Yes.
Otherwise known as,
I'm from Europe. Are you kidding me?
Right. Otherwise known as football, right?
Correct.
And so we want to give that experience and kids to experience something that they may have in their homeland or their heritage, where they can just play football and not the American football. So, and it's a great setting to do that, and you can do it in multiple areas. And so,
how about basketball? Basketball?
And we would put a hoop up.
Hoops,
So.
No, I think that's a great improvement, because right now, I mean, it's only one-purpose court. Like I think you can only play tennis there, right?
Yeah.
And this is a huge improvement. And as you said, like all the sports are growing here, and there's a lot of people coming from different countries, and they play different sports, like even rugby, right? Like, that's very progressive.
Our rugby team is fantastic. They actually won the championship, their league championship, a few years ago, and so that's but they're a group of individuals, professional in the workforce, and they want to give back. And they've started a youth program, and that youth program is taking off through us, and it's been a really good partnership.
Yes, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So how about parking spots? I see. I mean, like literally, there's no parking at the courts, and now I see there's like 32 new parking spaces?
Yeah, depending on how we lay it out, we can generate about 20 to 30 spaces.
That's great.
And so I think that's going to be something that we really are looking forward to, kind of making that shift in making it brighter and safer, and have people feel more comfortable visiting the park.
Right, and now when you come from Roxbury Road and Water Road, it looks like the road is going to be just one-way road, because right now, when I was driving yesterday, it's two ways, right?
Yes,
it's not one way.
It really was never intended to be two ways, but it was never changed, and so that's going to be a part of this project. We wanted to do it back in 2015, and for various reasons we didn't, but it's really time.
It's a great idea. I mean, the road is very narrow. I think it will be safer.
And it reduces cut-throughs and unwanted necessary traffic going through the park.
Yeah, I like that idea. So when we were in that area, the stewardship focus area, are you going to do anything in that area?
So that's an exciting thing that you may not see on these particular concepts, but it's kind of part of the conversations that we had with the public, because these were done before that second public session and before flash vote. So from the parking lots, we will put an ADA accessible trail up into that natural area, so we can get anybody with a mobility issue
that's wonderful.
Into that natural play area. And so I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, that's really cool, because I mean, it's a really great place to have a picnic or barbecue, right? So I think it's a wonderful idea. And then amphitheater. Is this going to be renovated as well? Because right now, when I went yesterday and I hiked up, I didn't see an access for scooters or bikes or people physically challenged. Is this going to be changed?
Yeah. So this is one of the focuses of this particular project is improved access on the top for. handicap access, and we'll have 2 particular parking spaces there. We'll have a new, like a composting toilet for events that are there, so they don't have to rent a porta potty, but it will only serve the purpose of those particular events. And we'll do some improvements on the inside to kind of, especially the connectivity down to the park itself, is where we know we need to improve.
What kind of events do you have up there? Is it concerts or what is it?
Mostly, kids want to have their rock concerts up there, which is good, and it's also bad because the good is that it's getting used and it's serving its purpose. Right. The bad is the sound that carries right over that neighborhood all the way down. So, on a nice Sunday afternoon in the summertime, and there's a concert up there.
There might be a small problem.
If it lasts for 6 hours or so, you can tolerate it for a few hours,
but not for 6.
Not for 6. So that's something that we have to continue to work on.
Is there electricity there? Is it?
Yeah, we did it. We had a nice, one of the companies here in town, Amer Electric, a few years ago came in and improved all of the added electric outlets in that space, because that was a space that he used to visit when he was a kid. And so Ryan did that for us, and we appreciate that. And we've had other upgrades from different companies around the park, so it's been good.
Yeah. So there's a small gazebo, like when you enter the trail.
Yes.
And that one looks dated as well. Is this something that you're going to replace, or is it you're going to get rid of it, or what?
We actually put that gazebo in maybe 10 years. No, we did it in 2015 when we did the dam.
That's ideas. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's
staying there.
It's more natural looking, so it weathered a little bit faster than we would have liked.
Right, that's because of the weather conditions.
But it could be moved if we needed it to.
It looks beautiful.
We put it there because we had a lot of people wanted to picnic and overlook the pond. Right. And it's a good spot to kind of just go and
especially when it's raining, you have a shelter. You have a shelter thing. How about the nature trail? Are you going to do anything with the nature trail? This is going to be preserved and it's going to stay the way it is.
Yeah. So we want to do some improvements similar to what we're doing up at Goose Pond.
Goose Pond.
To Robin Hood. These are some.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, there's 100 acres at Robin Hood Park, and there's a lot of trail network. And the nicest thing about Robin Hood and Goose Pond is you are not even 5 minutes out of downtown Keene.
You are basically in downtown.
and you're in this forested area, and it's such a treat. One of the things I like about the amphitheater, if you ever stand at the very edge and you look back over the city, you can see all the way over to Hannaford's. Not maybe this time of year, but in the winter time.
You see downtown for sure, and it's a really beautiful view.
Yeah, it's a special view.
Yeah, it really is. It's like New England cute little town, right?
Yes.
It's very nice. And they said the boat ramp over there, that's something that's going to stay, right?
The boat ramp will stay, and we're actually looking at possibly adding a fishing dock to that as well.
Because you have fishing derby.
Yeah,
right?
The fishing derby,
in the
and it's a very popular fishing location. And so the places where kids can fish and adults fish, it's kind of in the low water area. So by putting a fishing dock off by the boat ramp, that's kind of the deepest part of the pond, and it'll be a little bit different fish in that as opposed to. So that's what we're trying to get at.
That is so exciting. There's so many really, really wonderful changes. Please, guys, go on City of Keene website and look at those concepts and get an idea, because it's really exciting and it's a really wonderful thing that's going to happen in Keene in 4 years, basically, right? If everything goes well.
If everything goes well.
Right.
According to plan.
So, one question. How do you get money for such a big project? Because that is a huge project.
Yeah, we have been very fortunate in receiving land, water, and conservation funds. These are dedicated federal funds for recreation that was established in 1965 from offshore drilling, and they can be used for federal projects, state or local municipalities. And once you receive those funds, the purpose goes in perpetuity forever. So that's what perpetuity means. So this will always be parkland. It can't be redeveloped for anything.
Right.
It'll always be park. And so at Russell Park, we received $900,000. The skate park received $225,000. And we're going to be going after another $500,000 for Robin Hood Park. And that's a 50-50 match, so or a 1-to-1 match. So if we ask for $500,000, we have to provide $500,000. So that is the caveat behind that. But we anticipate this project being $2.5 million, $3 million. So we already have that batch already lined up.
So does it depend on which concept you go with? Like, let's say the pool is, I'm assuming it's way more expensive than just a splash pad, right?
Yeah. So it definitely, the grant itself does not, but we will provide direction. So once we get the concept, when we go back to actually build it, we'll kind of go through this process one more time to refine that concept and get it just right before we go out to bid.
So does it mean if the pool is more expensive and we decide finally, it's decided that we will go with the pool idea, will we have enough money for other projects?
That's what we're kind of trying to figure out right now.
Because if we got all those projects, oh my gosh.
I have something in the works that I think we might be able to do that. But
you're a magician.
But that's what I'm hoping that we'll be able to resolve.
That would be wonderful. So who makes the final decision, and when do you think the final decision will be done?
So the city council will ultimately make that decision, and when we go through the capital improvement program process this spring, that's when not only the city council but the public will have the opportunity to share one last time if they support the project or not, and then it gets entered in the book and off and running, but it gets approved every other year.
Oh.
So even if it goes in this particular book and it's 4 years out, in another 2 years, it's going to have to receive another approval. So there's a lot of steps that happen.
Yeah, and it's a lot of time, right? So
yes.
Let's say, I know that you probably don't know exact date, but what do you think would be the final date and like big opening for the park? 2030?
No, I'm hoping 2028. Yeah.
So that's pretty soon.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Considering how big the project is, that's I mean, if everything goes well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it might be 2029, but it's
Right, it's about that. It's about that time.
Yeah.
That's very exciting, and it's just so wonderful that town is growing so much, and it's been like improved in so many different ways. And even if you drive your car around the Keene, you can tell like there's so many changes, improvements, developments. That the town is looking so beautiful and clean, very clean, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any other exciting projects like park projects, like I don't know, dog park? Or I saw yesterday on Facebook that what was it? Kiwani's organization then donated $10,000, $5,000 for 10 bikes for kids, right?
Yeah, so we have one of the bike park that we created a few years ago in Wheelock. One of the visions that we had was to have programs so we could get kids to learn how to ride and be in the bike park and learn how to ride mountain bike and eventually move into the mountain bike circuit. And so that's what that vision became a reality.
So all the bike are going to be
So we'll store the bikes in Wheelock Park, but they won't be out in the open for anybody to use.
So how do you contact somebody if you want to get a bike?
So it'll be through a particular program. It'll be a supervised program, which we will announce here in another week. And so that'll be the first of many. And the New England Mountain Bike Club is going to train our staff so we can go out and do those programs as well without necessarily having to have them present. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Yeah.
So how about the dog park?
So the dog park is going out to bid this week, and they should have their park built by the end of this year. And the disc golf folks, I owe them some information, but they should be built this year as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another great project. And how about the skate park that's on the Water Street? Is it
near
so that the Russell Park?
Yeah, that project got delayed just slightly because of the federal funds and when they were able to give them to us. So because of that delay, we'll be building first thing in the spring in 2024. So in April, we'll be pouring concrete for the skate park. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Thank you so much. So tomorrow you're opening Russell Park, right?
Yes.
What time is it?
11 o'clock, and then in the afternoon, if you can't make that, bring your family down, and that'll be from 4:30 to 6 o'clock.
Great. And I don't know, other announcements that we have. I mean, Keene International Festival. I hope the weather will be wonderful.
Fingers crossed.
Keeping our fingers crossed. And that's on Saturday, September 23rd. And then on Sunday, I think there's a big marathon, the Mar.
Tomorrow, good luck to all the racers.
Good. Are you running?
No. I have staff that are, so good luck, Alyssa.
Good. And my kids are running in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully the weather will be wonderful this weekend and everybody can go and just enjoy the diversity and then run. And there's a pickle festival and an opening tomorrow, the Russell Park opening tomorrow. So that's wonderful. So thank you so much, Andy, for coming over and talking about all those changes and the renovations. That it's very exciting. Please get involved. Please, if you have any questions, please bring up questions to Andy, or you can do a survey. Please don't be shy. Just let's make that town really beautiful and grow and more fun. And I mean, it's a great town right now, and we can make it even better. And it is getting better every single year. My name is Aggie Cersosimo, and see you soon. Bye bye.